Hello YouTube, you're very welcome back to the channel. Yes, I am shirtless. Look, with everything that's going on and how I'm feeling, I may as well flaunt what I have right now, and that is this. Everything I've been doing the last while has been to optimize this current look. And also I was going to have a shower and I was like, I have time to do a YouTube video. Let's do one and let's update you all on how I'm doing, how everything is going. So exciting times. We are 3 weeks and 3 days out from the first show, which is mental because I started this prep on the 8th of January and now it's funny, at the start of prep and in the middle, it just seems like it's a never ending process. You're never actually going to get there. And lately it just feels like it's coming so fast, which is interesting. So the last time I picked up this was 2 weeks ago. I didn't do a video last week. Part of why I didn't do a video last week was because I was sick. I got very ill. So I'll discuss that, how that went, how I responded to it. And when I spoke to you last, I think I just broke into the 79s. I think I was broke into 79.5, which was a big moment. So all in all, since the last time I spoke to you, I can't really complain. Even with being sick last week, shit happens. Like, especially when you're doing a prep and you're trying to get extremely lean, there's always going to be a spanner thrown in the works. And this is something I tell clients, and especially something I tell new clients, because anytime a new client signs up with me, they're always super motivated and super excited and they want to nail everything. You know, they're investing in themselves, they're paying this money, they're spending time going to the gym and doing a shop and preparing meals and all that good stuff and going for walks. They want to get it right. But then something happens, like you get sick, you get injured, something in the family happens, work comes up, and it just throws a spanner in the works. And it's a bit of a reality check. You know, anytime you take on something, it's never, ever going to be perfect. And this is something I'm well aware of in my situation as well. Ideally, I don't want to be getting sick, especially last week, being 4 weeks out from the first competition. But at the same time, with the body being extremely lean now and still maintaining high steps, a dieting phase, like extremely low calories and training, these are all stressors you're placing on the body, and it's not like your body is at its full health or has its full is able to deal with all these things to the best of its ability. So these things are going to happen. And you know, it was pretty shit. Last week was pretty shit. I came down with some sort of flu virus. It started in my throat and I thought I was going to be okay because I think it's from, I went to that wedding that you would have saw if you watched the last video. And I think I got it from that. And I thought I was going to be okay, but I was not okay. It hit me like a ton of bricks. So I didn't take any time off work. I stayed going to work. I think I did take the first 2 days off training. So normally Monday is a rest day anyway. Tuesday is a pull day, which I took off. Wednesday then is usually push, and I was ready to go in and train that morning, but I was too messed up. I was like, this is going to be terrible. So I left it. But then I was feeling better throughout the day. Wednesday, I was like, you know what? I don't want to miss 2 upper sessions at this point. So I combined my pull and push session and just did like a half-assed effort of both of those sessions in combination. I did the best I could. Numbers were nowhere near where they usually are, but I did the best I could, got quite a good pump, and the physique came to life and I felt quite good about myself after doing that. So that was positive, because when you're sick, really, your body is trying to recover, and then you're training on top of that. Your immune system's already compromised, so you could argue that you're making things worse. But I was 4 weeks out from the first show. I mentally needed to do it for myself. I needed to train, even though I felt terrible. I needed to push through just to have that mental win. Whether it was rational or not, It's just something I needed to do myself. It's a box I needed to check off, and I did, and I felt quite good about myself. It was a mental win. Also, on top of being sick last week, I stayed on low calories and I stayed hitting my steps. Looking at my calories here. So, yep, kept the calories 2065 Tuesday, 2200 Monday, 2065 Tuesday, 2095 Wednesday, and 1985 calories on the Thursday, the last low day of the week. So that again is something, when people get sick, it can be, you can get into a very negative mindset and you can allow that to affect everything. Whereas I want to stay on top of my diet. There was no reason for me to eat up, other than the fact that you could argue that I could have recovered faster if I took my body out of the deficit. But again, we're 4 weeks post show. What I did instead was dose myself with medicine, get like natural remedies going, like ginger, lemon juice, honey. Started dosing myself with that stuff, and also got a supplement called NAC, which is the acronym for N-acetylcytosine. I think I'm butchering that name, but it's very good for your immune system when you're sick. I think it just helps promote more white blood cells. So I did a lot of that last week to help me get better. And then Thursday I woke up, I was still under the weather, and that was leg day, but I went and trained legs and gave it my all for that session. Again, not my best performance, but did the best I could, and I felt way better after. And Thursday, for the rest of the day, I felt a lot of relief from my symptoms, and being sick was actually kind of a silver lining, because I was so sick and just wanted to get better. When I got better, the dieting condition, like the low energy and stuff, that was nothing. So I was like, oh, this is great. Dieting, calorie deficit 4 weeks out, not a bother. I'll take that all day over how I was feeling. So that was the silver lining from last week. When I did start to improve around midday Thursday after that session, I just started to feel a lot better. And then of course we were into Friday, which was the start of my Refeed days, which again was just it was like a checkpoint. It was like, you made it, you got through the week, and mentally I was just on cloud nine. I did everything within my control. I responded in a very positive manner. Even though I was sick, I didn't let it get to me or affect the rest of the process. I stayed the course. So that's how last week went. And in terms of weight loss last week, then I seen a drop. I seen 79s 3 times last week, as opposed to 2 times the week before. So I seen 79.9, 79.5, and funny enough, I seen 79.4, which was the lowest weigh-in last week, after the high day Friday. So all in all, last week was very positive. Even though I was sick, was very positive. And I know I spent a bit of time talking about last week, but I didn't do a YouTube video or update you guys last week at 4 weeks out, so that's just what I'm aiming to do here. I will get into this week as of now, and I'll talk a little bit about last weekend as well, because I did some things differently last weekend. So first of all, let's start with a physique update, and no better way, I will show pictures on screen, but you're getting a good glimpse of how I look here. I'm not really flexing here, but when I do flex, it's quite apparent. You can see lines pretty much everywhere at this stage. The tricep is feathered, which is so cool. I don't think I'm actually appreciating how I look that much, whereas I should be. But because you have a show coming up and you're constantly chasing more and more, you can fail to appreciate how you look in the moment. And I'm seeing changes every week, so I do need to appreciate how far I've come and how I look. And I do look great. Not to toot my own horn, but I've put a shitload of work into my physique in the last 14 years of lifting, and the last year of dieting. I've been dieting for something like 217 or 18 days. Yeah, long time. So this is how the physique is looking. Just to give you a quick glimpse here. So right now I'm flat because it's Thursday. It's the last low day. But flatness is a good thing when you're trying to get lean. And the main difference this week is the quads. These lines, I've been waiting to see some more detail in my legs, and we've got them. This is what I've been working really hard for, because everywhere really came in my physique. And just fair warning, I'm going to show you my ass now, because my glutes are shredded, and that's the hallmark of a shredded physique, is the glutes as well. So you've been warned, just forward on. This is part of bodybuilding. I know it's weird. It's weird. It's like if my parents came in, looks like I'm doing OnlyFans or some shit. But I'm going to be on it. But I'm going to be in a thong in like 3 weeks time, so get used to it. So the glutes are looking spongy. Look at those lines. That is fucking messed up. So the physique is very close to where it needs to be. I say close as it could well be there, but we have 3 weeks and I am going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing that little bit more. I know, psychotic, but I want to give this everything I got. So far, I can look back on this whole journey, kind of a cringe word, but give me a different word. So far, I can look back over this prep and be extremely proud of how I did everything, how I conducted myself, the mindset for everything, how positive I've remained, although at times it's been tough and I've had hard moments. I can honestly say so far, I've done everything I could possibly do. So I want to finish strong over the next 2 weeks. I want to come to the show and be able to, regardless of the results, I would obviously love a great result. I am a very competitive person. I have set high standards for myself. I would love to win, but ultimately I want to be able to get to the show and then look back and reflect and say, damn man, you brought your 100% for that day. If I can do that, that's all I can do. Like, the result is outside of my control, but everything I've spoke about, how I conducted myself, how I trained, my mentality, my approach towards the diet these last like 8 months, that's all within my control. And at the end of the day, if you can look back on all those things and say you did a good job, then fair play. Whatever is going to happen, whatever will be, will be. So last weekend was an interesting one. Katie, my lovely girlfriend, went to London to meet one of her friends. So I had last weekend to myself, which I haven't had a weekend to myself in a while. So I used that as an opportunity to approach the weekend's refeed a little bit different than normal. The first thing I did, and I'll flash up my progress report sheet on screen so you can see all the numbers. I love numbers. Data, I'm so data driven. I don't leave anything to chance. And this sheet has been a big reason why I've done so well this year, because I am coaching myself and I need to collect data and I need things to help me be objective. So last weekend, you'll notice, if you look at the weekend previous, the first high day was 3,500 calories. The second high day was 5,600. And the next day was 3,350. This week, that was the weekend previous to last weekend. Last weekend, I did on the first high day 3,335, which was lower than the first day. 4,377, which was a good bit lower than 5,600 the Saturday previous. And then Sunday I did 3,090, which again is lower than the previous Sunday, which I did 3,348. So all in all, last weekend's refeed, the total amount of calories came down. I wanted to kind of use this opportunity to have this weekend on my own to challenge myself a little bit more and create a little bit more of a deficit for the week ahead, for this week. I knew I would see lower weigh-ins if I was a bit more conservative with my refeed last weekend, and it worked. As you can see, my weight has really come down this week. So much so that this morning I seen a massive drop. I actually can't believe how big this drop was, but I seen a massive drop. I went from 79.8 to 78.7 this morning, which is a crazy drop. So I was delighted to see that, unexpected, But at the same time, the day previous was 79.8, which was the same weigh-in as the day before, and I knew something was up there. Whether it was I didn't have a big enough number 2 that morning, that there was still some undigested food, or water retention, I just knew. I was like, that's not 100% accurate. There's definitely something going on there that isn't reflecting the fat loss. I just had that gut feeling. So as big as that drop was this morning, I think it's something to do with that as well. I think it wasn't, my weigh-in the day previous wasn't a true weigh-in. I think I was lighter than what was going on. And that can come down to edema, like a bit of water retention, undigested food, maybe a few other things, but all in all, this week we've seen a bigger drop and I'm delighted. So everything is going to plan. The 78 was sort of where I was aiming for. Now, I've only seen 78 once, so I would like to see more of that again, which is why I'm going to continue to push. And yeah, that's a result of the lower calories, the lower refeed calories last weekend. Now, as well as the lower calories, I also ate a little bit differently and spaced out my meals, my feedings a little bit more, and assessed my physique and the look it had last weekend after most meals. Because when you're severely depleted, like after 4 low days, low calories, not as much carbs, extremely high activity and work and training, everything above, your body is very depleted of glycogen. So when you do eat up, you eat something like a high carb meal, high sodium meal, high carb, high fat meal, the change is almost like instantaneous. Like you can see like the veins in my body, they just become so much more prominent. And you just feel it. It's so weird. It's hard to explain, but like the effects of the food you just ate, you're starting to feel it like within 15 minutes of eating it when you're very depleted. So I had a lovely big breakfast for myself last Friday morning, and then I had a cookie croissant, which is a ridiculous combo for a treat. Like that is so tasty. And that was Friday, and I just started to notice my physique just started filling out. But then Saturday I had a big breakfast. Looked at myself, physique looked a little bit flat, and I was actually very fatigued. Then I went and trained my usual session up in Galway. Even though Katie was in London, I went up to Galway and still stuck to my same routine. Rituals, people. Stick to your routine. If it's serving you, don't change it. And trained, and then went into Galway to pick up some takeaway for myself and the family that night. And on the way for the takeaway, I was going picking up like a Tex-Mex meal. It's called boujum for anyone who's not Irish or in Galway. It's so tasty. It was going to be my first boujum of the year. I seen Little Bros Pizza. You know me and Katie, we love getting Dough Bros Pizza. So Little Bros is the new pizzeria that Dough Bros opened up about 3 months ago, where they're doing like New York style slices of pizza, and I've been meaning to try it. Katie never wanted to try. She wanted to go to Dough Bros, which is fair enough. I'm never going to complain. So I was like, okay, no, Katie, I'm not going to get a full Dough Bros by myself. I'll save that for the two of us. So I was like, I'll try Little Bros. So I got a slice of pizza, big ass slice, tasty, but not a patch on Dough Bros. And then went and got my food for takeaway, drove home, and I had a look. So the pizza was probably in my system for an hour and a half before I went and had assessed my physique. And oh my God, I think I peaked myself last Saturday, because that was the best my physique has ever looked. It looked tight. The lines were so prominent in my physique. I'll put it up here. It just looked so crisp. My physique looked good. And that's what I mean. When you eat food like this after depleting, the changes are crazy. So crazy. So that was very exciting to see. So I think from this, the data we've gathered is that on the day of the show, I'm going to have my own version of a fry, an Irish fry, have my Clonakilty sausages, get a big ass slice of pizza, and then we're good to go. Not even joking. I could do that, and that could work based off what we saw. So last weekend was different in terms of that as well. I was able to space out my feedings a bit more because I wasn't with Katie, and we usually we have our own set times we like to eat, and we like to eat especially save a lot of calories for nighttime, for a big dinner, a lot of treats and desserts. So I just took a little bit of a different approach, and it was useful information for me. So that was really cool, and I was very happy with how my physique looked, and that was at 4 weeks out with still more condition to achieve. And now here we are this week, and we've hit a new low weigh-in. We've seen 79 twice this week, and now 78.7. So I'm very happy, very, very happy with the progress so far. So we're doing good in terms of the visuals, and the data all looks good. Like, I'm still doing the high days at the weekend. Don't need to change that. I plan on doing the same again this weekend. Now, in terms of changes I've made, calories were more or less the same as last week. I will say my steps are probably a little on the higher side this week. Like, if we look at the sheet, my average step count last week was 17,374. This week, it's 17,000 so far as well. So, okay, more or less the same. In the last 2 weeks, I have made more of an effort. I did say I was going to walk more if I had the time, and I have been doing that. Like, it is 5 o'clock this evening as of recording this on a Thursday evening. I have a client this evening, and my steps are already at 16,900. So I have to go train a client. I have to go to the grocery shop and pick up groceries for the weekend. So most likely I'm going to have at least 18,000 steps hit by the end of today. And that's sort of been my goal for the last while, is to increase my step count, just because the final push is on. If I can do it, I will. Now, one change I've made, and this was only this morning I made this change. I've noticed this week that I've been extremely fatigued in the morning time. Like, when I get up super early, like 4:30 or 5 a.m. and go for my first walk, I extended that walk last week to get in more steps. So I went from getting 4,500 steps the weeks previous to getting 6,000 first thing in the morning. Great, puts me in a great head start. However, this week in the morning time, I noticed I was having huge slumps before my clients. Really tired, and then I train after my clients as well. So I was like, I'm a little bit more tired than usual in the morning, and my mood is a little bit lower. It just came to me this morning that maybe I should shorten my morning walk before going into the gym, because I do train shortly after my morning clients. So I went back to doing a 4,500 step walk as opposed to 6,000 steps today, and felt so much better. I wasn't nearly as fatigued. So maybe there's a certain amount of steps I do in one go that will just floor me. So maybe it's anything past 4,500, 5,000 steps, I'm going to get very, very tired. But it just means I have more steps to do later in the day, but that's fine. I'll make that work. And even if I'm tired for those steps, which I was kind of tired doing my midday walk today, it doesn't matter, because the majority of the day is done. Your training is done and out of the way. And at this stage, you want to be training your flipping ass off to retain your muscle and make sure while you're losing weight that you're keeping everything you have, because this is a bodybuilding show. We need our muscles to pop and be there. We don't want to look like a string bean on stage. And a big part of that is how you train. So I noticed my leg session today, I had a little bit more energy. I wasn't dragging my ass, and I actually, even though I got a low weigh-in today, I treated myself to 160 kilos on the Zercher squat, which I hadn't done in a while. But in my head, again, this is just another mental thing. Maybe I'm psychotic, but I was like, be different. Don't get complacent. Yeah, you got that weigh-in, but who gives a shit? Keep doing your thing. We're not there yet. Push harder. That was the mentality this morning, and delighted to say that I had a great session, and I was so happy with the detail of my quads when I was doing the leg extension. I was recording the first set, and I was looking down, I was like, whoa, that's new. So I got Kyle come down here quick and video this set, what you're going to see here. And the lines of my quads, they've never ever looked like that. So we're it's Thursday evening, we're at the end of yet another week, and I'm so pleased with the progress so far, and we're at another checkpoint, and I'm just very happy. I'm very, very happy with how things are going. Now, in terms of how I'm feeling, obviously hunger is still present, but I've gotten very used to hunger. Food focus is not terrible, you know. I'm actually I'm a huge foodie, but I'm not really craving anything. I think part of that is because the approach I've taken. Anything I have been craving, I've had, the Little Bros pizza last weekend. I was curious about that. Boojum, I wanted Boojum, I had that. During the back-to-back refeed days at the weekends, I make sure to include something. If I am thinking about it, I make sure to include that. Even last weekend as well, awful random, but I hadn't had an apple, like a pink lady, in a while. It's just not part of my routine. And I hadn't had a chocolate protein milk in a while, and they were something that were on my mind for the week. So I was I made sure to include that. So it's not always I'm not always craving hyper palatable foods like donuts, pizza, cookies, all that stuff. I love that stuff, but sometimes you just crave a tuna sandwich or something. Now I want a tuna sandwich. So that's probably why the food focus isn't terrible either, because I've made sure to include those foods and make it work. So really this week, what's been hitting me hard is the energy. So the lack of energy, I should say, that has hit me like a ton of bricks, especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yesterday morning was probably my worst, and I think Wednesday morning was my worst because, again, I go back to what I was saying earlier about reducing the steps. I went for a huge walk Wednesday morning prior to going into the gym, super tired for my morning clients, but I put on a brave face. I try not to be too overly consumed with how I'm feeling when I'm dealing with my clients. But then I had a posing lesson and I was wrecked. I was knackered. I had a men's physique posing lesson with Kaz, who's been helping me out big time, and then Christian and Keen Brennan, they're helping me out with my bodybuilding posing. And the posing session with Kaz was just so tough, and I felt like killing him. Every time he told me to get tight in my abs, I was like, fuck, I know, I'm just too tired to be flexing everything right now. So Wednesday morning was a hard day, very hard. It's your feet just feel like you have weights attached to them, and everything just feels like effort. You sit down, you have to really think about and muster up, okay, I need to get up again, and you want to get up. It's just shit that's supposed to be easy is now hard. That was yesterday. Today's not too bad. I'm not gonna lie, today I'm feeling quite good. I think you can probably see it here versus the last video. Feeling quite good at the moment. When I feel good, I'll take it, and I'm very grateful for when I do feel good. It's not all bad, it's just you do get hit with waves, and as of lately, those waves are probably more intense because I'm getting leaner. So being this lean, there's a price to be paid, and I'm paying it, and it's as simple as that. In terms of training this week, I got back to training as normal. This week's pull, push, and leg session today, all fucking great sessions. So happy with how I approach those sessions. I trained my ass off. I stayed within the pocket. My performances on a lot of my major lifts, and again, that just comes back to in here. You can really push yourself. You can really have seriously good productive sessions when your mindset is right. Once you fix your mindset, get in the zone, listen to the right music, you're caffeinated, you're hydrated, you have some food around the training window, and you salt your meals, because electrolytes, salt is so important that you're just doing everything within your power to make the session very productive. And I did just that, and I had great sessions this week, which is it excites me for my training in the future when I'm past this stage of my life, this prep, doing these shows this year, and I get back to when I do feel good again, and when there's more consistent energy coming in. I feel because I've maintained such a high training effort and maintained pretty good training performance over this last year during this intense cut, I feel I've unlocked a new level of being able to train really hard, and I'm going to take that with me when the calories come up again, and we're going to do some damage. I love training. If you couldn't tell, I love this shit. So I can't wait to get back training and be feeling good, put on a bit more body fat, get the tunes going, get the calories in, and get into the gym and put on more muscle and lift heavier weights. That's very exciting. So yeah, there's some good times ahead, but right now we'll stay present with what we're doing. And yeah, that's sort of, I've been talking for half an hour now. That's sort of where we're at with everything. I'm super pleased with how this is going. It's crazy how close we are to the first show, and I'll talk a little bit more like how I'm going to approach the upcoming show in terms of peaking and all that good stuff, because I know people love hearing about that. But spoiler alert, when it does come time to talk about that, I will seriously be emphasizing the fact that you just need to be ready on time. You need to be conditioned. You need to be lean enough for your show. It's the biggest mistake people make, is just not being ready on time and expecting peak week to work miracles. Like, peak week is useful, definitely necessary for a lot of reasons, which I'll get into in a future video, but you have to be ready on time. So guys, that's my bit of an update as to how I'm doing, how things are going. We are 3 weeks and 3 days out from WNBF Ireland, from my first time ever competing as a bodybuilder and competing as a men's physique. I have competed as a men's physique athlete before, but I'm competing as a bodybuilder for the first time, and I'm also competing as a men's physique athlete on the same day. Have I shot myself in the foot there? Maybe. Time will tell. Guys, if you are enjoying these videos, please do let me know, because I know it's different from some of the videos I was doing this year where they're more educational style based, but I'm trying to provide you with as much education as I possibly can in this phase as well. So if you are enjoying these, if you have any questions, comment them down below. If there's anything you want to see next, be sure to let me know. And don't worry, when I'm done with the competing stuff, I already have a ton of ideas in terms of videos, in terms of gaining muscle, programs, exercises you should be following, how to get shredded. Like, I have all these videos planned for the future. It's just right now, this is what we're doing, and we just need to get through it. And I want to document this journey, even if not for you guys, even for myself, to be able to look back on. So with all that being said, I need to go shower now because I have clients to train. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.